Tractate Bava Batra, page 142. We will start with 6 lines from the top of the page. The question of transferring the right to the child is the core discussion, especially since we talked yesterday about fetus. Well, the father wished something, and we explained that if the baby is not yet born, it's issue of transferring an estate, since it's not an entity. But based on that, we also going to clarify the other questions, such as a firstborn, if he became a firstborn after the father passed away, meaning the idea of the mother being conceived while the father was alive, but then he passed away during the 9 months period of pregnancy, and then is the firstborn. Does that firstborn has the same right as a regular firstborn or not? Also, we're going to discuss the authority of certain maturity in the rabbinic court. Does age of a judge is dominate and makes a difference or not? So let's start with the first one. The first one we discussed yesterday, the idea of someone who transfer the ownership to a fetus. And we heard a disputation between Rav Nachman that said that it cannot be a matter of acquisition because ein adam makneh davar shelo ba'olam. A person cannot transfer ownership to something that is not yet in the world. Versus if the baby is born, if the fetus is now a baby, then it's a baby boy, you can transfer ownership. The question is how far you go. We have 3 views. One is Rav Nachman said that as far as fetus is not, you cannot transfer ownership. Then we have Rav Huna that said lich sheteled. So lich sheteled meaning when she gave birth. And then Rav Sheshet said both. Both case, you have both Maaseh Kinyan, the matter of acquisition, and Zchiyah. So now Rav Sheshet brings proof to, so he said, Rav Sheshet mena min Allah. How do you know that the fetus acquires the item? The Tanya, Ger shemet ubizbezu Yisrael nechasav. As we learn many times, a convert is like kekatan shenulad dami, is like a newborn. So in that sense, everything expunge. So any entitlement of a state is not applicable since he is a new person. Therefore, even as far as the inheritance from his wife, meaning the wife cannot inherit him, because if you remember, we learned in page 108 that Isha ina yoreshet ba'ala, but here we said that people collect the ownerless estate and distributed it because they have the assumption that it's total hefker, that it's total open. ושמעו שיש לו בן או שהייתה אשתו מעוברת. And then they heard that there is a son, and another option is, again, this similar case that his wife was pregnant. So therefore the heir entitled to get a portion, and it's not hefker, it's not ownerless. חייבים להחזיר. Those people who looted, who took away bziza, took away the estate, have the obligation to return it. החזירו הכל ואחר כך שמעו שמת בנו או שהפילה אשתו. Here it can be that those who took away the leftover estate from the convert return it because originally it was unknown, and then all of a sudden they became known that there is a child. So therefore החזיק בשנייה קנה ובראשונה לא קנה. So we said that if one took the possessions only at the first time, before it was known that it is an heir, so obviously we said, ובראשונה לא קנה, not acquire. Now, והיא כדתך עובר לא קנה, if you tell me that the fetus does not acquire property, that's, as we said, one of the views earlier we mentioned, למה לא החזוקי בשנייה? So what's the difference it makes if we are talking here about acquiring at the second time? Ha'achazikul leho chad zimna. It's already happened that they are taking a possession one time. So the miscarriage fetus had acquired ownership in the meantime. Amar Abaye Yerusha ba'am elea shani. So Abaye said, if you have the inheritance that come to the children, to the possession of the heir by itself, is that a formal act of acquisition. That's what we learned, if you remember, in the previous daf. Rava rejected and said, Shaneatam derapui merapian biyada umeikara. He said that there was initially only loosely held in the head. Because when they originally have it, they have the safek, they have the quandary, they're not sure if this convert, this girl, have a future generation or not. So therefore it wasn't kavanat hechzek legamrei, it wasn't the intent to have it permanently. So therefore the bozezim, the one who took it first time, doesn't have a matter of acquisition, and only the second time, after it's clear that the son passed away or the miscarriaging of the baby, so therefore it came out clear that there is no ownership. My benayu, what's the really difference between Abaye and Rava? Since both of them hold that that the first holding החזקה בראשונה אינה מועילה, it's not taking an effect, only the second time. So what really the difference, the maise in practicality, if we know or not? If we know that it's the chazka rishona or not? Because the way that Abaye said that the fetus inherits property, so therefore the property was not ownerless, and therefore you don't have the acquisition of the plunderers. So Rava hold that since the plunderers heard that the fetuses die, they took the firm hold upon the property and they acquired it in the first time. So now the Gemara bring a Mishnah. We study in Tractate Nida, page 44. Tashma, Tinok ben Yom Echad, Tinok that just born the first day, Nochel umanchil. So he can inherit property and bequeaths property. Now, what we said, Ben Yom Echad Ein. The condition is that he was born, it's a 1 day old. Ubar lo. But if it's only fetus, does not. So what you see here, since Ubar, the fetus, eina zoche b'yerusha, not have the partake of the inheritance, so for sure a person cannot zoche, cannot have the acquisition in the gift that others give him. And that's basically challenge what Rav Sheshet said. Rav Sheshet said that the Ubar, yesh zchiyah, the fetus can acquire. אמר רב ששת, אמר רב ששת, נוכל בנכסי האם, להנחיל לאחים מן ההב. He said that here we have a different halacha. That 1 day old child inherits his mother property the moment he was born, so that he's able to bequeath her. If then he died, to his heir who are not mother heirs, which is paternal brothers. So they said, נוכל מנכסיהם להנחיל לאחים מן האב. So he said, ודווקא בן יום אחד. This we talk specifically if it's one old. But if you have a situation of aval ubar, fetus, so here you have a case that the fetus whose mother died does not inherit from her. Mai ta'ama. What is the logical reasoning that we say that the fetus will not inherit the estate of his mother, the same way as he inherited other relatives? Page 142b, the hu mayet bereisha. Here, it's very interesting, the base of the Gemarrah in Erkin, page 7, the whole notion is that usually the fetus die first. Tosfot comment here, if the mother was murdered, then it's possibility for the mother to die first. But in general, the fetus is first. ואין הבן יורש את אמו בקבר להאכיל מן האב. So the idea is that we explain the law that when it's come to the son, he's not inherit his mother from the view in his grave, to bequeath what inherited to him by his parental brothers. It was a story that Hava Uvda, that was someone that was basically the fetus thrashed about 3 times. It said, so this is like a tail, like a lizard. You see a lizard, at the very end the tail moves around. So it's not a proof. מר ברד רב יושב משמי דרבה אמר, לומר שממעט בחלק בכורה. ודווקא בן יום אחד, אבל הוא בר לו, מה יתאמה וילדו לו אמר רחמנה. So here we have to know the foundation. Halacha, we said that when the Torah used the term v'yaldu lo, it means it's a present life. דאמר מר ברד רב יושב משמי דרבה, הבן שלו לאחר מיתת אביו ואינו מעט בחלק בכורה, מה יתאמה וילדו לו אמר רחמנה ועליקה. So it's clear, as long as the father is a present and he is alive and he can communicate, that's a different story. But the way that Torah expresses v'yaldu lo, it has to have some type of communication between the father and the son. Besura matnu hache, matnu tamanu hache. In the surah they teach the way that Marbar Rav Yosef said, and the Pumpedita they teach that differently. But the idea is, the way that the surah learn it, it's basically you get the right to receive a portion as the firstborn as long as you are born when the father is alive. But if, for example, the mother was pregnant and later in advanced pregnancy the father passed away, which means the firstborn child was born while the father is deceased, then the portion of the firstborn is missing. That's later when we see, that's the way the Rambam paskin. דאמר מר ברד רב יוסף משמי דרבה. דאמר מר ברד רב יוסף משמי דרבה, בן שנולד לאחר מיתת אביו אינו ממעט בחלק בכורה, תמה וילדו לו אמר רחמנה ועליקה. That's by the way the halacha. The only concept of Bechor, of firstborn, is the life of the father. If after passing, it's a different story. בסורה מתנו אחב, בפומפדיתא מתנו אחי, אמר מרר ברד רב יוסף משמי דרבה, בכל שנולד לאחר מיתת אביו, אינו נוטל פי שניים, התאמה יכיר רחמנה ועלייתא דיכיר. The whole idea is that the father know about it, but here he doesn't know. והלכתה, בכל הלישנה דאמר מר ברד רב יוסף משמי דרבה. So only when he was alive. And that's the halacha. Because here is the language of the Choshen Mishpat in 277. A son who was born after his father's death does not reduce the firstborn share. That's basically the Rava's opinion. And basically the way the Gemara said, you see it's also in the Rambam, in Ilchot Nachalot chapter 2. A firstborn who was born after his father's death does not receive a double portion in according to Rava's opinion cited by Mar, son of Rabbi Yosef, which is according to the conclusion of the Gemara. Some say that even if he was born with his father, was on his deathbed, he does not receive a double portion, as this is also a case when the father is unable to acknowledge him. That's the whole concept of a father-son, that we know the halakha is crucial here. I know it's painful, but that's the halakha. He needs to le'akir, he needs to know his child. You have obviously Tosfot, Rashi, others that go different, but the key idea is double portions applies only if there's a communication, lively communication. אמר רבי יצחק אמר רבי יוחנן המזכה לעובר לא קנה ואם תאמר בשנתנו לביתו של האדם קרובה אצל בנו. So here is again, it's a concept that the Rishonim have a long discussion how a person can do something like that. The whole idea of the disposition of a person is to be inclined toward his son. So therefore you see here a validation of transfer like that. But unborn child is a different story. אמר לי שמואל לרב חנה בגדתה, פוק הייתי לי 10 וימלך באפיו, המזכה לעובר קנה. So the מפורשים said that the idea of 10, it's in order to promulgate it, that's the Gemarrah in Ketubot, page 7b. והלכת המזכה לעובר לא קנה. Obviously, that one cannot transfer ownership of property to one who has not yet come into the world. So therefore, if one transfer an item to another's unborn child, the fetus does not acquire the item, even if the giver says that the transfer of the item should take effect when the child is born. By contrast, if one transfer an item to his own unborn child, the fetus acquires the item, even if the giver does not state that the transfer of the item should take effect when the child is born. So you have a different ruling. You have Rav Hai Gaon says that only a person on his deathbed can transfer ownership of property to his unborn child. But halakha is not a follower of Hai Gaon. One can transfer ownership of property to his unborn child only if it is at least 40 days into gestation. And you see more in Choshen Mishpat in the Sema 210. So here is a story that we can derive from this story a lot of lessons. Someone said to his wife, נכסי לבני דאבו לי ממך. אתה ברי קשישה. So his oldest son that came from a different wife. אמר לי, ההוא גברה, מה יתהיה עליי? What about me? אמר לי, זיל קני קדמך כי חד מברא. So he basically said to him, go and acquire a portion like one of the sons who will be born, which means you receive a share as well. So the Gemara said, "Avadai lo kanu, da'akat litnu, ha'it lechulak letalya b'mkom banaya." So basically, what he said here, that the sons from the second wife, this is additional share. So just you mean to say that the oldest one take because it's a gift from the father, or leit lechulak letalya b'mkom banaya. רבי אבין ורבי מיאשה ורבי ירמיה דאמרי יתחולק לתלאי במקום בניה. רבי אבאו ורבי חנין בר פפי ורבי יצחק בן נפחא אמרי לית חולק לתלאי במקום בניה. אומר לרבי אבאו לרבי ירמיה הלכת עקבתן או הלכת עקבתייך, הוא אמר לי פשירא דהלכת עקבתן דקשישנא מנייך. He thought it's all the age. ולאו הלכת עקבתיי הוא דרגתקי אתון. אמר לי מידי בקשישות אתה למילתא. When it's come to פסק הלכה you go by the age. בטעם אתה למילתא. The reasoning, the logical reasoning. That's the Kovetz Shurim said that that's the reality. You have to go by the, not the age, but the view. V'tamamai. Zi legabe de Rabbi Avin, this Bartaniale, go before Rabbi Avin, explain. So page 143, וחרקש בי ראשי בבית מדרשה, he basically nod his head in בית המדרש, and עשה לגבי רבי ירמיהו went to him, אמר לי, אילו אמר לי, קנה כחמור מקנה, mean to say, if you tell him like a donkey is a choir. So here we need to continue next day because we're running out of time, but the whole idea is, here is the Rambam in Ilchot Mechira. If one transfer ownership of his property to an animal or to a person who is not yet come into the world, and then he says to another person, acquire the property as this animal did, or acquire the property as this person who has not yet come into the world did, the recipient does not acquire the property. This is as Rabbi Avin explained to Rabbi Yomi, and as indicated by the statement of the Gemarrah in the continuation of the discussion. You see more in Shulchan Aruch Shel Mishpat 210.